Ever felt confused by the difference between named and default exports? Or why your imports are returning undefined? Mastering JavaScript modules is the backbone of modern web development and a key requirement for top-tier certifications. In this video, we will cover JavaScript modules import and export practice questions and explanations. Master JavaScript modules with this comprehensive practice guide. In this video, we dive deep into 30 exam-level practice questions covering everything from syntax and scoping to dynamic imports and module resolution. Stick around to the end to ensure you have a professional-grade understanding of how to structure your JavaScript applications. Which keyword is used to make a function or variable available for use in another module? Option A, share. Option B, expose. Option C, export. Option D, public. The correct answer is C. In ES6 ECMAScript 2015, the export keyword is the standard way to expose variables, functions, or classes to other files. There are two main types: named exports and default exports. This system allows for modular code, making it easier to maintain and test by keeping code logic separated into distinct files. How many default exports can a single JavaScript module have? Option A, 0. Option B, exactly 1. Option C, up to 5. Option D, unlimited. The correct answer is B. A JavaScript module can have multiple named exports, but it is strictly limited to exactly one default export. The default export is often used when the module is intended to provide a single main functionality, like a React component or a utility class. Attempting to define more than one default export will result in a syntax error. Which of the following is the correct syntax to import a default export from a file named math.js? Option A, import default from /math.js. Option B, import asterisk from /math.js. Option C, import math from /math.js. Option D, import math from /math.js. The correct answer is C. When importing a default export, you do not use curly braces. You can also name the import whatever you want. In this case, math. Option D is incorrect because curly braces are reserved for named exports. Option B is syntactically incorrect as it requires an alias, e.g., import asterisk as math from. How can you rename a named export during the import process to avoid naming conflicts? Option A, import original as new name from /module.js. Option B, import original new name from /module.js. Option C, import original to new name from /module.js. Option D, import original rename new name from /module.js. The correct answer is A. The as keyword is used in JavaScript module syntax to alias both imports and exports. This is particularly useful when two different modules export members with the same name, or when you want to use a more descriptive name in your current file without changing the source module's code. What is the behavior of the import statement regarding hoisting? Option A, imports are not hoisted and must be at the bottom. Option B, imports are hoisted to the top of the module. Option C, only default imports are hoisted. Option D, Hoisting depends on the use strict directive. The correct answer is B. Import declarations are hoisted. This means that regardless of where they appear in the module's code, they are processed before any of the code is executed. However, it is considered best practice to always place them at the top of the file for readability. Note that while they are hoisted, you cannot conditionally import using the standard import statement. Variables declared inside a JavaScript module are: Option A, automatically global. Option B, scope to the function they are in only. Option C, scope to the module itself, private unless exported. Option D, accessible by any script tag in the HTML. The correct answer is C. Modules have their own scope. A variable, function, or class defined inside a module is not visible to other scripts or modules unless it is explicitly exported. This prevents global namespace pollution, which was a major issue in older JavaScript development, where every variable could potentially conflict with others. Which of the following is true about the dynamic import function? Option A, it returns a synchronous object. Option B, it can only be used in the global scope. Option C, it returns a promise. Option D, it is exactly the same as the static import statement. The correct answer is C. The dynamic import syntax allows you to load modules on demand, which is vital for code splitting and performance optimization. Unlike the static import statement, dynamic import returns a promise that resolves to the module object. This allows you to use async, await, or then to handle the module once it is loaded. What is the correct syntax to export multiple named variables at once? Option A, export var1, var2. Option B, export var1, var2. Option C, export var1, var2. Option D, export var1, var2. The correct answer is A. The export syntax is used to export a comma-separated list of previously defined variables or functions. This is known as a named export list. It is a clean way to export multiple items at the end of a file rather than putting the export keyword in front of every individual declaration. To use ES modules in the browser, what attribute must be added to the less than script greater than tag? Option A, type equals JavaScript module. Option B, type equals module. Option C, rel equals module. Option D, mode equals S6 inches. The correct answer is B. Browsers require the type equals module attribute on the script tag to recognize and process ES6 module syntax. Without this attribute, the browser treats the script as a regular JavaScript file, and using import or export will trigger a syntax error. How many times is a module executed if it is imported multiple times by different files? Option A, once for every time it is imported. Option B, only once. Option C, twice. Once for named and once for default. Option D, it depends on the browser version. The correct answer is B. JavaScript modules are singletons. When a module is imported for the first time, its code is executed once and the exported values are cached. Any subsequent imports of that same module, by the same file or different files, will receive the cached exports without re-executing the module code. Is use strict required inside a JavaScript module? Option A. Yes. It must be at the top. Option B. No. Modules are in strict mode by default. Option C. No. Modules cannot use strict mode. Option D. Only if using classes. The correct answer is B. ES6 modules are always in strict mode by default. You don't need to add use strict at the top. This means features like preventing the use of undeclared variables and making this undefined in global functions are automatically enforced, leading to cleaner and more secure code. What does import asterisk as utils from /utils.js do? Option A. Imports only the default export. Option B. Imports all named exports into an object called utils. Option C. Imports only the functions from the module. Option D. Throws an error if there is no default export. The correct answer is B. The namespace import syntax import asterisk as alias creates a module object that contains all the named exports from the source module as properties. If the module also has a default export, it will be available as utils default. This is useful when a module exports many different utilities. What is the purpose of export name from /authormodule.js? Option A. It imports name and uses it locally. Option B. It re-exports name from another module without importing it into the current scope. Option C. It creates a copy of the other module. Option D. This syntax is invalid. The correct answer is B. This is known as re-exporting or export from syntax. It allows a module to aggregate exports from other modules and present them as its own. Crucially, the items being re-exported are not available as variables within the current module's file. They are just passed through to the consumer of the current module. Which syntax is correct for exporting a variable as the default export using the object style? Export syntax? Option A. Export my var as default. Option B. Export default my var. Option C. Export default my var. Option D. Both A and C are valid, but they do different things. The correct answer is D. Option A. Export my var as default sets my var as the actual default export of the module. Option C. Export default my var creates an anonymous object containing my var and sets that entire object as the default export. While both use the default keyword, A is an alias for a specific variable, while C exports a new object literal. What happens when you run import/setup.js without any names? Option A. Nothing happens. Option B. The module is loaded and its global code is executed. Side effect import. Option C. It throws a syntax error because no members were selected. Option D. It only works if setup.js has a default export. The correct answer is B. This is a side effect import. It loads and executes the module's code but doesn't import any specific bindings. This is commonly used for modules that perform initialization, set up global configurations, or polyfill features where you only need the code to run once. In ES modules are imported values, live bindings, or snapshots. Option A. Snapshots. They never change after import. Option B. Live bindings. If the exporting module changes the value, the importer sees the update. Option C. Snapshots for primitives. Live bindings for objects. Option D. Live bindings for default exports only. The correct answer is B. ES modules use live bindings. This is a significant difference from common JS, used in Node.js. If a module exports a variable and then changes that variable's value later, the modules importing that variable will see the updated value. However, the importing module cannot modify the value of the import itself. It is read-only for the importer. Which file extension is commonly used to explicitly denote an ES module in Node.js environments? Option A. .jsm. Option B. .sm. Option C. .mjs. Option D. ES6. The correct answer is C. While JS is standard, Node.js uses the .mjs extension, modular JavaScript, to explicitly signal that a file should be treated as an ES module. Alternatively, you can set type module in your package JSON file to treat all JS files in that project as ES modules. Can dynamic import be used inside a regular, non-module script? Option A. No. It requires type equals module. Option B. Yes. It can be used in any JavaScript environment. Option C. Only if the script is loaded via async defer. Option D. Only in Node.js. Not in the browser. The correct answer is B. Dynamic import is a function-like expression that works in both regular scripts and modules. This is one of its main advantages. It allows you to bridge the gap and load an ES module even from a script that wasn't originally declared as a module. How do ES modules handle circular dependencies compared to common JS? Option A. ES modules throw a hard error immediately. Option B. ES modules support them better because of live bindings. Option C. ES modules do not support circular dependencies at all. Option D. They handle them exactly the same way. The correct answer is B. ES modules handle circular dependencies more gracefully than common JS because of live bindings. In common JS, you might get an incomplete object if you require a module that requires you back. In ESM, the bindings are resolved before execution, which often allows circular references to function correctly as long as the functions aren't called immediately during the evaluation phase. When using import in a browser, which of the following is mandatory for the file path? Option A. The file extension, e.g., JS. Option B. The HTTP prefix. Option C. The C drive path. Option D. Browsers automatically find the file without extensions. The correct answer is A. Unlike some build tools, like Webpack or Vite, or Node.js, with specific settings, browsers performing native ES module loading require the full URL, which includes the file extension. you must use /utils.js rather than just utils. What is the name of the binding when you use export default function? Option A. The function name is default. Option B. It is an anonymous function and has no name. Option C. The name is taken from the file name. Option D. It throws an error because functions must have names. The correct answer is A. Internally, the default export is just a named export with the special name default. When you export an anonymous function as the default, its name property will actually be default, though you usually refer to it by whatever name you give it during import. Which statement about top-level await in modules is true? Option A. It is only allowed in CommonJS. Option B. It allows await to be used outside of an async function in a module. Option C. It blocks the execution of all other scripts on the page. Option D. It is used to speed up the loop execution. The correct answer is B. Top-level await is a powerful feature of ES modules that allows you to use the await keyword at the top level of a module. This means you can wait for resources, like a database connection or a fetch request, to resolve before the module finishes loading and becomes available to other modules. Which syntax is used to export all named exports from file JS as a single object? Option A. Export asterisk as my utils from /file.js. Option B. Export from /file.js. Option C. Export all from /file.js. Option D. Export everything from /file.js. The correct answer is A. This is part of the re-exporting syntax. Export asterisk as namespace from takes all the named exports from a source file and re-exports them as a single named object from the current file. This is very common in barrel files, index.js files, to clean up project structure. If an error occurs during the evaluation of a module, what happens to other modules that import it? Option A. They continue to execute normally. Option B. They will only fail if they call the specific failing function. Option C. They will fail to load as the dependency failed to evaluate. Option D. JavaScript will ignore the error and use an empty object. The correct answer is C. Module evaluation is an all-or-nothing process. If a module fails to evaluate, e.g., due to a top-level error, any module that depends on it will also fail to initialize. This ensures that you never run code in a half-broken state where dependencies are missing. Can you use the export keyword inside a function? Option A. Yes. For local exports. Option B. No. Export declarations must be at the top level of the module. Option C. Only if the function is also exported. Option D. Yes. But only in arrow functions. The correct answer is B. Export and import declarations are static. They must appear at the top level of the module scope. You cannot nest an export inside a function, an if statement, or a try, catch block. For dynamic logic, you must use dynamic import. Which of the following is not a valid name for a named export? Option A. Export const _ my value equals 1. Option B. Export const 123 value equals 1. Option C. Export function $init. Opening curly bracket, closing curly bracket. Option D. Export class user. The correct answer is B. Named exports follow the standard JavaScript identifier rules. Identifiers cannot start with a number 123 value. They can, however, start with letters, underscores, underscore, or $signs. What is the value of this at the top level of an ES module? Option A. The window object. Option B. The global object. Option C. Undefined. Option D. The module object itself. The correct answer is C. In standard scripts, this at the top level refers to the global object window in browsers. However, in ES modules, this is explicitly undefined at the top level. This is part of the strict mode enforcement and helps prevent accidental global modifications. If a module has export default class user, how must you import it? Option A. Import user from /file.js. Option B. Import user from /file.js. Option C. Import default as user from /file.js. Option D. Both B and C are valid. The correct answer is D. The standard way to import a default export is import user from. Option B. However, option C is also technically valid. It uses the named import syntax to specifically grab the default binding and alias it. Usually, developers prefer the cleaner syntax of option B. What object provides metadata about the current module, such as its URL? Option A. Module.info. Option B. Import. Meta. Option C. This module. Option D. Window. Location. The correct answer is B. The import meta object is a special object that contains metadata about the module. The most common property is import meta.url, which gives the full absolute URL of the current module file. This is useful for loading assets relative to the module's location. Why are ES modules preferred for tree shaking in build tools? Option A. They are smaller in file size. Option B. The static structure allows tools to determine which code is used at build time. Option C. They automatically compress the code. Option D. They don't allow comments. The correct answer is B. Tree shaking is the process of removing unused code from your final bundle. Because ES modules have a static structure, imports/exports cannot change at runtime. Build tools like Webpack or Rollup can analyze the code without running it and safely remove any functions or variables that are never imported. That wraps up our deep dive into JavaScript modules. Understanding these import and export patterns is essential for building scalable, modern applications. If you found this helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dive coding content. Don't forget to check the link in the description for the full practice exam. For the full-length practice exam and certification prep, check out the link in the description below.